It stinks to be in the friend zone. Time to wash that off with Tactical Soap. Pheromone-infused soap for men, proud channel sponsor of 21 Studios. I'm Anthony Dream Johnson, and I approve this soap. Order now at the link below. Use coupon code 21C for 10% off now.
George Bruno here with the 21 Report, and we're talking with Mr. Swift in Orlando at the 21 convention. He just came off stage, and we want to have a little chat and see what his experience was like and how you can benefit from his wisdom. So far, what has your experience been like with the crowd here?
The crowds are great. All the men seem real thirsty, ready to network and grow. They're just eager to network and be better.
Thirsty and eager. It's nice to have an audience that is receptive to your message.
Yes.
Speaking of messages, what was your message to the crowd?
I was asked to speak on self-defense from a masculine point of view. The caveat is I speak from a biblical worldview, and I teach violence, the good violence, from a biblical worldview for men in life.
I've been following you on Twitter, and I feel empowered by a lot of your tweets.
Thank you.
They're heavenly, if I can put it that way.
Yeah.
And they make me feel more responsible as a man for my family, as a protector, as a defender, and I take safety more seriously. It's funny how people can help you take safety more seriously, but that's the effect that you have on me. What was your main message to the young men? And a lot of them are younger.
Yeah.
There's a lot of young guys there who haven't experienced life the way you have or the way that I have.
Right.
What did they need to know today?
The main message is an idea of who they are, what they're made for, and their worth. And are they good enough for that main purpose, which is answered. And then the other main point is to train, to continue to train. And then all skills are perishable, so you must maintain training and proficiency in those skills.
Is there a difference between training a young man and training an older man like myself, would you say?
No. Not age-wise. It would be mindset and openness to receptiveness of training.
Mm-hmm. Because I guess threats don't adjust themselves to age, do they?
No, nor do they do gender as well.
They don't go easier on me because I'm older.
No.
Okay, so I need to face a threat with equal or more force than what's coming at me.
Yes. In a situation, the violence of action, the ferocity that a man can dwell up and inflict to use for defense is all that they need.
Now, you said the veracity. Tell us about that. That's not a word I see used every single day, but I find it to be appropriate here. Explain that to our audience.
Veracity would be, two examples, would be a lion, not a lioness, attacking. The sheer unbridled violence of action a big lion can inflict to meet its end goal was one way. Another one would be a shark with blood in the water. They were created for one purpose and one skill set that they do without hesitation, and the sheer veracity of all of the force behind that to accomplish their goal is veracity.
How does the common everyday man apply this to his life?
Not to make him paranoid, but the knowledge and understanding that threats do exist, that they are the door to their family. They protect, they keep safe, but they have to bear the full weight of that responsibility. To do that, they need training, mindset, and they also would benefit tremendously, exponentially from a brotherhood, as iron sharpens iron. So one man sharpens another. Mm-hmm. That's what a common everyday man would take out of that. And again, I'm not on a pedestal. I'm a common everyday man as well.
Mm-hmm. What about, I hear a lot of people talking about Spartans these days. Tell us about the Spartan and how it relates to being the defender, the protector, the person who has to step up to the plate.
From my understanding of the Spartan talk for everyday man, would be almost as if they were going off to battle, just as their wives or their mothers would tell them, you know, return carrying your shield or on it, which is leave nothing behind, hold nothing back, give it your full effort. That's about all I know.
Yeah. What would you say is more important, strength, speed, or skill, or all three, and in what order?
All three are important. The order depends upon the situation, the threat. Speed, if you're about to get hit by a car, you know, your speed of being able to move out of the path of that vehicle would be one instance. Strength, it's all situationally dependent.
Mm-hmm. What kind of people would you say are the most vulnerable in this day and age right now?
Vulnerable to
violence, to being victimized?
There's no way to pinpoint it. In my experience, the older populace is more prevalent, victimized by fraud. Not so much violence. The younger generation and so-called minorities are usually more prone to violence acts. So there's pretty much it's a free-for-all, and there's no one's more safe than another group.
I remember there was some kind of controversy, I don't know if it was, there was some martial arts person, I don't know if it was like Chuck Norris or somebody, was teaching some type of martial arts in high school as a way to quell violence and dispel negative energy, disperse negative energy, and people were saying, he's teaching violence, he's creating violent men. And I took exception to that.
Right.
How does training and drilling help a man become nonviolent?
Options. It provides options. Training, bodylifting, bodybuilding, coupled with a martial art of some fashion, gives a man options, multiple options in a given threat situation. One of them being, sheer presence, sheer size. If the opponent or bad guy truly is not inhibited by illegal drugs or anything else, what rational person would want to pick a fight with a guy twice his size, especially in muscle mass? Being said, if he's trained in martial arts, not the bad guy, he has options as well. I could just knock them out, or I could, do a joint lock and just push them away and make them, rethink their situation or rethink their choices. So training provides options for almost any given situation.
What would you say is the role of restraint while you're in the midst of drilling and training? How does restraint help somebody?
Restraint is almost the embodiment of meekness. To restrain a full-bore punch builds some cognitive skills and some extra synapses in the brain. But again, in training, sometimes under ideal situations and circumstances, a training partner should be able to go full force as well. So, and it's all knowledge. Knowledge of knowing that you can restrain, and also knowledge of what you are fully capable of. So knowing your varying zones, or your limits, your high limit and what you can restrain.
Did you ever see the video of the gentleman on the subway and some guy was just mouthing off with somebody, and a very able man got up and just quickly got a chokehold on a guy and just brought him down to the ground?
What did they call him?
Kept him down.
The New York Viking or whatever? Yeah, I saw that.
What is your assessment of that situation? That's been played 1,000,000 times.
It has.
What do you think of that?
I think...
Was he a hero?
Yes, but my obscurity would say that he's the hero to both sides, to everybody else on the train and to the inebriated young man. That was a very well selected choice to only put him to sleep for a quick moment, and then maintain him on the ground so he was not, any more of a threat.
Yeah.
So I think, from my standard and from my point of view, that man is a hero to everybody.
So he used a form of violence to protect other people.
Yes, he did. It didn't leave any permanent injuries on the guy. So like why I would say that it was a properly and well-chosen selection of violence to protect everybody and that kid.
It was interesting, I saw when he was... Do we call that choking somebody out? Is that what that is? I hear people talk about he choked someone out. Is that...
That would be a layman's term, but to me it's a misconception, because he wasn't choked. It was... BJJ calls it a rear naked choke. Basically, it's a carotid artery restraint.
Okay.
The windpipe's not occluded at all.
Okay.
Air does not stop going back and forth. It temporarily restrains blood going to the brain.
Yeah.
And you black out. But it's not, doesn't last very long.
Right.
So it's not, there's no permanent injury.
Yeah. That's restraint, isn't it? Because he could have done much worse.
Oh, I would call it meekness.
Yeah. It was interesting because I remember when I first saw it, I actually timed it. From when he first put the arm around the guy, it was 6 seconds.
Yes.
And then I noticed that he lowered the man to the ground rather than just drop him. He lowered him to the ground.
Yes.
And then as the man was coming to, he said, "Stay there."
Yes.
Stay there. And the man did.
Yeah.
And I thought that was such restraint, because initially, if I see someone starting trouble, I want to just take them out.
Oh.
But I saw this incredible restraint, and there was an interview with him on a news station.
Oh, I missed that one.
And they said, like, "Who are you?" And his thing was this. He goes, "I was just a regular guy going to work, my daily commute on the subway."
Yeah.
And that was kind of inspiring.
Yes.
A regular guy. not a warrior.
Right.
I mean, he happened to had his hair slicked back. He looked jacked, whatever. But I'm just a regular guy going to work.
Yes.
What if every man became a regular guy just going to work? Do you think there'd be a lot of less violence?
I think there would be.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if, I don't want to say step up, because that's not even the true sense of the situation. If every man became what they were created to be fully, I envision happy wife, happy kids, happy world.
Mm-hmm.
But I also am not naive enough to think that would ever happen this side of Second Coming.
Mm-hmm. It was interesting when I watched that man, the confidence that I saw, the calmness he had.
Yes.
He didn't hype up and mouth off. He just slowly stood up, got behind the guy,
Right.
and did his thing. And it was just quiet, confident, calm, very skilled.
Yes.
He didn't give that perpetrator not even a second to resist.
Oh, no. No.
So would that be one example of like the things that you're talking about?
Yes, that would be here that we're speaking of, the epitome of training to gain proficiency in a skill.
Okay. Yeah, he wasn't practicing on that guy. He knew what he was doing.
Yes.
Yeah. And it creates humility in the person he's doing it to.
Oh, yes.
The guy wasn't real quick to get up
No.
after it happened.
No.
I noticed that.
I witnessed one in law enforcement,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a bigger assailant, and the officer that restrained him, we laid him down nicely,
Mm-hmm.
to prevent any other injuries, and then as the suspect at the time began to regain consciousness, the officer was gently patting and petting his head to tell him it was all okay as he woke up.
That's powerful.
It was powerful. It was humiliating. It was humbling as well to the suspect.
Mm-hmm.
There was no more fight left
Mm-hmm.
in the suspect, and it ended very peacefully.
Mm.
Right? He went to jail, but
Mm-hmm.
it was still.
It could have been worse.
Oh, yes.
It could have had a different ending.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. I hear about people who get into fights. You hear about some friends, and in 10th grade, they got into a fight, got dragged to the principal's office. They both got suspended for 3 days, but later on became best friends.
Oh, yes.
What is the dynamic that takes place between two people that fight and then all of a sudden are friends? How does that happen?
In youth, obviously in adulthood as well, testing each other's mettle, testing each other's fire. When two collide, usually it's from a miscommunication. Fear is no longer there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shared experience at, to me, the most masculine level.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
So, fighting sometimes causes friendship, sometimes it causes more rivals, but
Yeah.
But those occur. It's an experience, a shared experience at the masculine level.
Do you think that training and drilling could possibly be a solution for violence in the urban areas?
Oh, definitely.
It wouldn't cause violence.
No, it would. Training in violence, good violence, exemplifies humility in people.
Mm-hmm.
Again, because we have options.
Mm-hmm.
When you have more options, some things aren't as important as they used to be before you had options. So in urban environments, urban settings, some men are not allowed to explore their masculine side. So if they get to train in good violence, in controlled environments, and with brothers who will be honest and humble with each other, maybe it would lessen violence everywhere else.
Talk to the man who is maybe not very big, he's not powerful. Speak to him right now. He's intimidated by what you're saying.
Oh.
But your message is for him as well.
Oh, yes.
And we'll wrap it up with that. Talk to him.
You're a man. You do have power. There is strength there. There's always ways to better your stance or situation, or even physical presence. Also, we're given different gifts from each other. You can expand and grow those gifts and talents and skills. If there's a different skill that you would like, you know that men who have what you desire in those skills are always open and willing to show and teach and mentor and coach. So don't allow, what's the word? Pride. Pride is bad. Don't allow pride to keep you from asking questions, asking for help, or seeking guidance from anybody that you would see as having what you want, physically or skill-wise. Ask. If they're not helpful, find somebody else.
I don't know about you, but tomorrow I'm getting up an hour early and I'm going to the gym. And I just want to say thank you to Mr. Swift for sharing with us. I feel a little bit more confident about seeking out training now.
Well,
and wanting to just toughen myself up a little bit.
Oh, yes.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.